Okay, who wants to go first? Danya, Michelle.
Go for it, Michelle.
Okay. So my tracker is, I haven't used my tracker.
Okay.
So I have no points on my tracker. How's that make you feel, Danya? There you go.
Because I'm in the same spot, but I've gotten so much done because I use a thing on my phone. And so I was just trying to figure out, I didn't have a printer, paper, or ink until yesterday. So I was trying to figure out how to, okay, what do I need to do on my tracker? But I've been checking things off my phone like crazy.
Awesome.
So I know I'm doing well.
Oh, good.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well done. Okay, so Michelle, no on the tracker. So by the end of this call, you need to put down in the chat the 3 or 4 things you're going to be deliberate about. Now, I don't care. I know it's Christmas, okay? I get that you're going to do a different amount and maybe different activity this week. The goal is that the tracker is by your bed and you look at it and you check it off every night, even if it is, I brush my teeth before I go to bed, okay? I need you looking at that tracker every day so next week when it makes sense to get back to work, that then you're checking off business things. Is that clear as mud? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Okay. It's the whole, it's becoming a habit thing. That's what we need. And that's just what Danya said. It's not so much that she used my tracker. I really don't care. It's that she's making habits in her business. Makes sense? Okay. So she made the habit of either you had alarms on there that reminded you, or you made the habit of looking at the activities you had chose to do. Right, Danya?
Right, yeah. So I have a today thing, and then I have a week thing, and so I just like cleared off a ton of stuff in the last.
Fantastic. Awesome. Okay, so Michelle, you had that, and then you had asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
You get a list of questions made for your product.
Yeah, well, what I emailed.
Did I reply?
Yeah, you said good job.
Okay, sorry. I have several new clients right now. And the funny thing is, I'm even mixing you up with one of my other clients that for some reason reminds me a ton of you. And I'm like, that's not her product. You'll have to meet. Her name's Leah, and she kind of looks like you. She has blonde hair, and she just has this great smile, and she's just reminding me a little bit of you. And I'm like, she doesn't sell it works. Anyway, so I'm laughing at myself because. Okay, so how are you feeling about those questions? You with me, Michelle?
Oh my goodness. I was trying to look back and pull up my email because they have them. Well, here, I've got them on a file. I have them on a file. Oh. That I hate for you to have to wait for me, but I'm getting. No, I'll find them and I'll grab them.
Okay, you had your 17 names. Okay, so that's what I need to follow up. Sorry. Did you get your people called and appointments booked?
And I did. I called and I booked like 4 appointments. 2 of them held, and I have 2 people that. Well, I have one person that's still thinking about it, and the other one that's like we're trying to come up with a plan for her to start on I think the 5th of the month.
Awesome. So how did that feel to have someone? How did that feel?
You know, it felt really good because she's actually been involved in the business before, and so we talked a lot about, well, what worked, what did she like about it before, and what didn't work for her.
Uh-huh.
And so I said, well, let me just show you the way that we're doing it, because we have a pretty good plan and people that are being pretty successful where it's just duplication. And so what she was doing before was, I think, more difficult for her. And I told her, though, there's not an easy, I mean, there's just not, it's something that takes time and work. I mean, it's not, you don't just step in and go, yay, now there's money flying in. You have to do things with it. But I said, you know, I'm working with some people, and here's the way that we're working it. And so by the time I was done, then she said, you know, that is a lot different than what I was doing before. And she was pretty excited. She said, I know I for sure want to get back to getting the product. And so that made me feel good. But she's also someone that I think might want to work on the business end of it too, which would be really exciting for me.
Okay.
So it felt good.
Have you watched? Awesome. Okay, so let me go through a couple questions. First is, how did you use the questions? And if you did, how did it help you be more successful, or did it?
Well, because the questions of you know, part of my question was how would, you know, just $400 a month, would that make a difference? How would that make a difference? What would that do for you? What did you like about the products before? Well, did you also know this and this and this? So the questions really help, because I think she knew I really sincerely am interested in the answers to those, whether they enroll or they don't enroll. You know, I want to know and stuff. So that was helpful. It made the conversation flow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, instead of me feeling like I'm pushing anything, then it was very good back and forth. So then by the time she knew what was going on, I knew what kind of needs it could maybe help fulfill for her. Then she was very open to listening to my presentation on it, even though she'd been involved in it not that long ago.
Right.
And she could see where, some things that she didn't know before.
Right. Cool. Awesome. And so did you feel like you were able to, do you feel like the deal would have closed as likely had you not asked good questions versus if did you feel like you did it differently this time?
No. Yeah. Well, no, and I think that what the scenario I saw in my head was her going, oh, you know, I've done this before. It didn't deliver what it promised for me, and I'm just not interested.
Right.
And be done.
Uh-huh. And so you felt like that helped go. Do you feel like it increased your ability to, or improve, or what's the word I'm looking for? Gave you more the ability to close the deal?
It did. It made, I don't know, it just made me in a more comfortable position with someone. I mean, we didn't know each other. She hasn't met me before.
Gotcha.
So it was good.
Good. Awesome. Okay. And so you held two. One might close on the 5th, and what was the other one, the result?
She's I mean, she sounded like she's pretty excited and interested in it. I just think it's kind of a busy week right now. So, I tried to follow up with her, haven't made contact yet tonight. I tried to follow up, and I'll just keep doing that.
Gotcha.
And find out, you know, one way or the other.
Sure. Did you make an agreement for follow-up? Did you leave going, I'll follow up after Christmas, or did you have like some sort of, this is the next step?
Not with the one that I'm still trying to follow up with, and so but I did with my other gal.
Okay. How did you leave things with the one that you don't have a game plan with?
So I told her I would email her information, and then we would check back with each other. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about it, Michelle.
That's okay. So you want to, this is why we do this. This is why we do, I mean, I am going to do the weekend thing that's for 4 hours. Is to get people revved up. It's to give them several good skills. They can go out and do something different. But I won't lie to you. I'm definitely going to say, hey, I want you to work with me for 12 weeks because it takes practice to get these skills in place. Okay? I will be 100% honest because I don't feel like people who only do weekend things and make all this money in one big weekend and then they don't have a follow-up plan, I don't even feel like those people have integrity because nobody changes from a weekend thing. You might change a small little thing,
Right.
but hardly anyone changes from a big weekend thing. It takes practice to create habits. It's just there's no integrity in it, in my opinion. Okay? So, but this is why we talk about how it went, and I ask you, what did you say, and what was the next step, and because then you keep improving every time. So you don't ever need to feel bad when you go, oh, I guess I should have done that. I'm like, no, I just want to know so that I can train you on if you did it perfect, then I don't have anything to train you on. If you didn't, then I give you some advice, okay? So there's absolutely no need to feel down or anything, okay? So one of the things that I do to make sure that, okay, there's a couple of scenarios. If, for example, they go, oh, well, let me look at this and I'll give you a call after I've decided. Okay, like that's what people say, right? There is nothing, can we agree that there's nothing worse than them not calling and you have no idea. Do I follow up? Are they not interested? Did they get busy? Did they fall, did something heavy fall on them and they're stuck and can't get up? It's like, what happened? Right? Okay.
Right.
And so when you leave a situation without a definite yes, but it's not a no either, and if they say the words, hey, I'll call you when I decide, the thing that I want you to do is you say, you know what, that's great. I look forward to hearing from you. Tell you what, if let's say the agreement was Tuesday, if I don't hear from you by Tuesday, because I know if you're anything like me, I get really busy, I'll give you a quick ring on Wednesday and see how it's going. Oh, yeah, that might be a good idea because I might forget. Okay, we want to make the other person's life as simple and as easy as possible. Expecting them to remember, expecting them to put it on the top of their priority list when they haven't either used the product for very long or really believe this can make them money. You're expecting them to have a whole bunch of excitement and faith in something they don't know very much about. Okay? So you have got that excitement. Always have an agreement. Now you're going to have 1 out of 100 that says, no, don't call me, I'll call you. But I'm talking that's rare. But it will happen now and then, but not very often. Okay? So don't worry about that. Just, hey, that's great. I look forward to hearing from you. If I haven't heard from you by this date, I'll give you a quick call and see how it's going. Okay, sure. Because if you don't get that agreement, then you're like, should I call? Should I not call? Is it too soon? Is it too late? Are they still interested? It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. The other thing you need to remember, I'll give you a tip that isn't totally connected to this, and I have this happen all the time, but one of my clients the other day, she sells accessories. She had one of those bags that has little clear pockets. She had, some of her samples in her bag, and this gal ran over. No, actually what it was, I think she just was carrying, they carry handbags. She just loved the gal's handbag, and she says, like, I sell them. I think that's what it was. And so she got her name and phone number and everything, and she tries calling her, and she's like, okay, she saw me, she approached me, and she's not answering her phone, and I don't know what happened, and, she's just, the thoughts are just making her crazy. And the lady is lovely and kind and politically correct, so I know she didn't offend the lady. I'm not worried about that. Every now and then I have a client who's a little social, doesn't have the greatest social skills, and I would wonder. Wasn't worried about that. I said, look, this is the deal. every time I had this happen, and they seemed totally positive, we made this connection, they wanted to talk to me, and all of a sudden they won't answer. I am telling you, grandma died, they broke their leg, they had a car accident, something happened. Every time something happened. Don't worry, wait 2 weeks or 30 days, call her again, and she'll go, I'm so glad you didn't give up on me. Blah, 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 blah happened an hour after I met you. Okay. So she's like, okay. You could tell she didn't really believe me. And it was hysterical. The lady literally called her 45 minutes after our class and totally returned her phone call. And yep, somebody had broke something or somebody died. Totally happened exactly what I said.
Jeez.
And she's like, I really wish you weren't right, Michelle. I'm like, but you are now. But anyway, so you really have to have an agreement. And when you connect and things just are weird, either all of a sudden they went home and their husband wasn't on board, or they thought they had the money and they didn't, or I don't know. Something happened. Do not waste 2 ounces of energy worrying about you and what you did. If you felt like it was good, you saw their body language, you know, if it wasn't, yeah, I'll call you. You can read that. Read when it's not like, yeah, right. Okay.
Right.
When it felt good and you're not doubting it, don't doubt it. Something happened. Just the way it is. Okay. I mean, Danya's even kind of an example for me of that a little bit, huh, Danya? Because she had signed up for a class, and you're on mute, and she decided not to, and she messaged me, and she says, I'm not going to take it right now. Believe me, if I waste time taking things personal, and I still do, somebody, like I had someone cancel 4 weeks into the class and irked me, but, you know, I mean, I just, and they wrote me a letter of recommendation. They just weren't ready to go for it in their business. Like, I took it personal a little bit, but they told me wrote me recommendations. They loved the 4 weeks. They just didn't really want to make it a business yet. It was more of a hobby. So that's the thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you just can't spend that energy. All right? Okay, it was not part of tonight's lesson. I'm all over the place, but that's all right. Okay. So do you kind of have some ideas on how to follow up with that then?
Yeah, that's, and thank you, because that's the big thing that I haven't, you know, I am so bad because I can focus on this or this, and it's so hard. This is something that they've really needed.
Right.
But I haven't stopped to think about it until you asked me that tonight. Like,
Yeah. Yep. That's why we do this, because you learn line upon line. Okay. Awesome. All right. So, Danya, tell me how it's going, girlfriend.
I had some contacts this week. I haven't been doing, like, I kind of fell behind because I was trying to catch up the goal setting week.
Okay.
I did do those questions, and I used them when I was talking to some people a couple days ago. They worked so good. I felt like, yeah, because I do a lot of stuff on Facebook because my kids are loud a lot.
Yeah, sure.
And so I had posted something and I got a lot of leads. And usually what I do is I tell them a little bit about the product, and then I ask them, what is it? What is your health goals? This time I just started out with, what is your health goals? Mm-hmm. And when I did that, people seemed to be more receptive, and they started telling me all this stuff. So then it was a little more to the point, because then I was able to say, oh, well then, you know, this is what you're looking for. Okay, this is the products that work this for this or whatever. So I wasn't just telling them about everything.
I'm so proud of you.
It's nice. It was so much better.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah, because then I found out there was one gal that she was looking for a business, and she was going to spend over $200 to get into another business. Mm-hmm. And so she started asking me about this, and I told her about it. And of course, we have a special going on right now, so she got really excited. She talked to her husband. He said that she could go for it on the 1st. Cool. So yeah, so I'm going to be touching base with her again, because the special ends on the 2nd, and she was really excited.
Cool. Okay, so Danya, this is what I want you to do. Okay, it's like I'm going way off lesson here. this gal, what you need to do is, okay, you got to have a system about every 2 days. You got to keep touching her, okay?
Okay.
And not, are you going to do it? You don't get to mention that, okay? You know her answer is the first. So you got to keep fueling her excitement, because I'm telling you, she's going to be tired by the first. Christmas is coming. Money is going to be low. Unless she's a big New Year's resolution starter and that's going to keep her motivated, she can crash between now and then. But there's a way to keep her up, okay? So first of all, you just check in with her. How was your Christmas? What kind of traditions you have? You just simply be friendly, okay? Ask her about her family. Ask her about what are you a turkey or a ham person? Like, just chit chat. You gotta be your best friend, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is you need to be feeding her about every 3 days, 3 to 4 days, depending on how she reacts to it. You need to be sending her articles, either success stories, how the product works. You're adding value. That makes sense.
Okay.
You got to hear really what I mean here. All I want you to do is keep giving her information that keeps her excited about the product. Not to convince her to sign up, just to keep her excitement up. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. The whole goal is to touch her every couple days.
Okay.
And this is online, right? She lives somewhere bizarre, not.
She lives in the area. She lives in this area.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
she lives near me.
Okay. Then take her a sample, take her some information. I mean, you gotta be her friend.
Okay.
You do not wait until December 31st. Heck no.
Okay.
Yeah, you send her a message on Christmas. Hey, it's so great to, so excited to, whatever. Okay. But you just keep feeding and connecting with her, and then it'll be fine. But you cannot let 8 days go by. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
In the recruiting class, there's a whole follow-up sheet. You've talked to him. When did you talk to her?
Day before yesterday. No, 3 days ago, and then day before yesterday, I sent her the special because she was wondering about a special, and so I sent her another message and said, "Hey, we do have a special. Here it is. Take a look." Then she got back to me that day, and she said that her husband wanted to know, how do you get paid, that kind of stuff. So then I sent her over all that stuff. And so I didn't talk to her today. Or I didn't talk to her yesterday or today.
Okay. You need to send her something tonight after this call.
Okay.
And it could just be a success story or something more about, anything that she's asked about, you add more credibility to that.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whatever the product was, because you have products that detox and do these different things, right?
Right.
So whatever it is that she had a concern about, that your thing's going to fill that need.
Okay.
Don't pile it on. Just be consistent.
Okay.
Just thought of you. Oh my gosh, I saw this. Thought of you. Thought you'd find it interesting. I'm excited to get to work with you. Next. Okay. Not long.
Okay.
Don't let it fill up more than the screen.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Short enough they'll read it, but enough information that it gives it value.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sure.
You kind of see how that works? You can be doing the same thing, Michelle, with the closing on the 5th.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I have another one that wanted a sample.
Cool.
And we were going to get together on Saturday, but it didn't work out for her.
Okay.
And so then she said, well, she goes, I still want the sample. I really want to get together with you. Can we do it after Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, that's not a problem. So I should do the same thing with her then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that appointment will hold. Anytime, if they are not signed up and spent money yet, well, you still follow up with them even after. But especially until they're signed up. You keep seeing them and keep adding value.
Okay.
No questions are you going to sign up? Are you ready to do it? No, just hey, thought you'd find this interesting because of our conversation. Look forward to seeing you on the 27th or whatever date.
Okay.
And the other thing is, another good thing to do to promote conversation is if you think of another question that is connected to your product. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, I should ask this question. And it's a question I hadn't asked yet of them. Okay. That's a good thing to do. Hey, you know what? I had another question for you. I got thinking about what you were talking about. What have you done about this?
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
you're just getting in the habit of asking questions. So I'm going to bet you money that there's probably 5 more you can ask her. Do you see what I'm saying? Just keep, because if you find more needs and keep giving her more solutions, it's going to build even her reason for doing it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And promote conversation. Okay, awesome. All right. I am so thrilled for you too. You have potential sales, like right there. Right?
Yeah. Need them, right, Michelle?
So how did
Yes.
that feel? How were things like 2 weeks ago? How many potential lead sales did you have 2 weeks ago?
I've had a few, but I haven't kept touching base with them like you said, because I got a lot of leads at Thanksgiving. And what I did do was I added them to my Facebook page, and they're watching. And there's one gal that I talked to, it's been a while, and she posted on one of my Facebook things last night to a girlfriend or somebody and said, hey, we need to do this. And so I'm like, okay, I need to get back with her. And unfortunately today has not, I'll do it tonight, but I haven't been able to today.
So guess
because I need to follow up. There's a lot of people that are sitting there that I just haven't followed up with. And that's just because of everything I've been going through.
Yeah. But the cool thing is you actually have a better way to follow up now.
Right.
So the verbal questions you asked that other gal, or no, maybe you did it online. Did you actually do it online?
Yeah, all of these have been online.
Okay. So all those people that you need to follow up with, you can just simply start a conversation with one of those questions. Hey, I've been thinking about you. I'd like to get to know you a little bit better. Tell me a little bit about this. And start asking them questions and pull it out.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, what I was doing with that one girl was like she had a house fire. She had a bunch of stuff going on. And so every once in a while I'd message her and say, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm praying for you. Or I would ask her what's going on or whatever. So I have been trying to do that, but not as often as what you're saying. But I just thought, you know what? One of these days will be the right time.
Yeah. And it's a tiny bit different, someone who's just a warm lead versus someone who's sitting on the fence and about ready to fall over. Okay. That one's every 2 to 3 days. Someone who's a warm lead, that's maybe once a week.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yep. That makes perfect sense.
It just, I mean, you can be really deliberate and try to have a really genuine conversation with them. But like, let's say you had an email list or something that you just send out to your general contact list, or you're posting things on Facebook. That's not as often. You know what I mean? But you can definitely reach out to her and see what her interest level is. And if it's higher, or, you know, then you put her into the every 2 to 3 day category.
Okay.
That makes
all right. Yep.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So you both have better questions. You're both feeling better equipped, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Practicing them. Okay. Michelle, just, I want to make sure that your questions you're asking didn't have quite so much preface. As, you know, some of yours kind of had a big long thing, and then don't you agree with that? It was a little too leading.
Right.
Very genuine and open. Okay. And not quite so. I really will talk about this. Don't worry about it. They'll still talk about something that they need. You'll be surprised because you'll be like, I never thought to try to help them with that. So relax. Don't worry about it going somewhere that will reveal a need. It will. Okay. I told you about, I forget what class I told what. I told you about the gal I was talking to that did her business just because she liked feeling like a good presenter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sonia, did you hear that story?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know.
Well, basically, when I call and talk to people about signing up with me, usually two things happen. They can tell me what they do with the money, and they tell me why they love the product, and because of that, and here's some tools I have to help them. Okay, so that's people's whys. Those are the things I need to find out about them to know if I'm a good fit for them. Okay, this gal really, she liked the product, and some extra money was nice, but it wasn't like her gut thing. She was kind of just neutral. And I kept trying to figure out why she was doing what she did. And I said, well, what do you like most about this? Why do you choose to do this? She goes, when I'm consistent holding classes, I really like it when I feel like a good presenter. Okay. Like, well, if I could help you be consistent in booking classes, would you want to do it so you'd be a better presenter? Well, yeah. I'm like, okay. All right, let's work on that then. I mean, it was just hysterical. And so that's the thing. If you keep those questions in a way that, well, what is most important to you? Versus, well, you really like having clean water and not being contaminated. So, you know what I mean? Michelle, I was kind of teasing her a little bit because her questions were just a little kind of, she was trying to know where she wanted it to go. But if
Sonia knows.
Yeah.
She knows me.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, she learned really quickly. She understood what I was telling her. But if you do that, you're going to miss out on things like, you want to be a good presenter. Like, all right, whatever. So, okay. All right. So we're going to work on lesson number 3. And lesson number 3 is all about getting serious about having personal goals. Now, one thing I forgot to tell you last week, Sonia, were you on the daytime call?
Yeah.
Okay, I told you. Did you do your family goal setting?
No.
Do that during Christmas break. So, Michelle, one of the things I forgot to tell you is week 2, I usually have people do family goal setting. Whether you do it just with a spouse or a friend or your kids or whoever. And it's fun to see what they want and when everybody kind of understands each other's goals. There's kind of a fun, different energy in your house. It's a really cool assignment. So do that sometime. It's in week number 2. It talks about it, okay?
Okay.
All righty. Okay, so let's get started into week number 3. One of the things about week number 3 that's so important is that we're going to get really serious about exactly what your business goals are so that you can get really, really, really clear and consistent on how to explain this, what activity you have to do during the week. Okay, like, it's okay, Diane. How many phone calls you need to make, how many appointments you need to make, what activity do you need to do to get to point X by date Y, okay? And that's where we want to get. So in lesson 3, you have a couple different forms that go with it. Okay, I actually sort of end up duplicating them on the explanation form as I do the other one. Let me see here. Okay, so on this form, you're going to fill in what you've done in the last 3 months. Okay, what you've done for sales, what you've done for parties or group things, how many people attended, how much, no, are either of you doing classes or parties?
No.
No? Okay. Then you need to change these things to more of a one-on-one. Okay. How many one-on-ones have you done based on how many one-on-ones, how much in sales, If there's different levels of sales you can sell them at, how many of them turned into business partners, okay? So just adjust the categories to what works for your business, okay? And so you need to know what you've done the last 3 months, because then we're going to move into what you want to do in your next 3 months. And I want you to take 1 month at a time. I just want you to set goals for the next 30 days. And if you want to, kind of pick, you really need to decide how much in sales, and what you want to start with is how much money do you want to make? How much money do you want to make? Then how much does that mean I need to do in sales? How much in sales? How many people do I need to sell to? And break it down that way. Okay? I want you to start out with the goal of what you need and what you want most. Because it's really easy to kind of go backwards. I'm going to try to talk to 10 people a week. Okay, why? Well, hopefully I'll get 3 sales. Okay, why? How much money of that, how much money will that make you? Well, I think it'll make people a lot of times go backwards. You need to start with your personal goal and break it down. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to do that because I get paid so many different ways, but I'll just have to figure it out.
Yeah, and you're kind of making an educated guess because,
Okay.
For somebody who's having parties, one party has 2 guests, one party has 10.
Right. Right.
You can have 2 guests and have 2 people buy $250 worth, and 10 guests and they all buy $20 worth. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
they're educated guesses. Okay, this is the average. This is how much money I make if I have this many people. This is how much money I make if I have this many new clients. Like, you got to just take an average on it. Okay. And your company has got to make it such that you can set goals and have an idea how much money you're going to make. Like,
Yeah.
Sure, see if an upline can kind of help you with it, but figure out how much more money you want to make. And sometimes at first it's just based on sales. You go, okay, I want to make $300 extra. This is just how much sales I have to do. Then any extra bonuses you just consider gravy. But you just, when you have complete control over this number, versus like team sales, it's like you get bonuses and different things and you don't always have control over those.
Okay.
So set goals specifically on what you can influence strongly at first.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, next week we'll be talking about a phone calling system. And, I know that because we have, little noisy little kids, I know, Danya, part of you just wants to stay on Facebook. But I really want you to put in the back of your heart and go, okay, God, how am I going to get on the phone more because I can close more deals that way?
Yeah, no, I need to. I'm trying to get them to take naps at the same time and give me some quiet time.
Yeah. Okay. They can have toys that they're only allowed, or a specific movie they're only allowed at those times. Maybe when your big kids are home, you can trade babysitting with somebody, pray on it and let that miracle come for you. Okay.
Okay. Because, we're getting there. Yeah. I actually babysit for a boy, and she told me yesterday that she would watch my kids for me if I need to do business.
Awesome. So maybe one day you add a 2-hour phone calling session and you can get 2 appointments in or something. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
So something like that. You just have to work smart, Danya. But I promise you, you keep putting it on your heart and keep saying your goals, and God will help you figure out ways that work for you. It will not be the same way as Michelle. Michelle doesn't have little kids and that kind of stuff, but she's busy. She works a full-time job. Okay. The 2 of you, your miracles will come in totally different ways. Michelle will maximize the few hours she has at night and do it around your kids. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah. How late do you guys usually make phone calls?
Say again?
How late? How late do you usually make phone calls, usually, if you do calls?
It depends on how well I know the person. Probably start a phone call as late as 8.
Okay.
Technically go to 7 to 9. It is surprising how many people I can get on the phone during the day. Really surprising.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that you need to really be conscious of, and I want you to add some of these things to your tracker, if not this week, but for sure next week. Can you hear me okay, Michelle?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
All right. All right. So things like 2-hour phone calling session. Have I told you my theory on why you do phone calling for 2 hours straight? Do you guys know why yet? Okay. So phone calling is one of those big, bad, ugly things that we all wish we didn't have to do in sales, right? Very few people have I ever met that go, I love getting on the phone. It is the greatest activity in the world. I can't wait to get on more, right? Anybody here feel that way? Like, yeah, right, not, okay. So the reason we want to do it for 2 hours is because, first of all, you guys are starting to get this feel of how to ask questions, right? Okay. When you've done it for 2 hours, holy cow, you start to hear what works and what doesn't work, and you get a better feel for it. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you can prove me wrong, fine, but seldom does anybody stay on the phone for 2 solid hours and get all no's. Just doesn't happen, okay? Normally you get some yeses and some no's, but you get some yeses. If you're on the phone for 20 minutes, you can go 20 minutes and get all no's. How bad do you want to get on the phone the next time? Not very bad, right? Okay. You have got to end on a high. In all, whatever you have to do, make sure you can end on a high. The other reason you want to do 2-hour phone calling sessions is every time you do a phone calling session, it takes time to get started and it takes time to end any activity. So if you got to go find the names and the phone numbers and get your kids situated and all this stuff, every time you have to do that, that's 10 to 20 minutes. And that's 10 to 20 minutes. If you do that 3 times a week, that is an hour's worth of time that you could have used on something else. Okay? So you save time by doing it. And most people love when they're like, you only want me to get on the phone once a week for 2 hours? Yep, try that, see what happens. You will book appointments. You will follow up with people who are thinking about recruiting. You will get referrals. All this stuff will happen. And you can get a lot of business done in 2 hours, far more than you've ever imagined, okay? And I had to train my family. They had to see it. I have always done party plans, but I'm like, you can pretend like I'm at a party. I am not here unless the house is on fire. You do not interrupt me. Do you understand me? That is just not an option. And it's so funny because you'll see these little glass doors here. My kids know what this screen looks like when there's somebody on. And that door busts open. I'm talking 3 seconds after the phone calls are over. It totally cracks me up. And they're like, what? Until y'all are off that screen, that door does not get touched. And they just, apparently I'm just mean and threatening because they just know better. It's like they don't. The 5 and 8-year-old a tiny bit, but not usually. But all of them, up to the 15-year-old, 3 seconds after that phone call's over, they're busting through this door, okay? But they've been trained now, and it's one of those things that when they know it's 2 hours and there's an ending, because, you know, my calls, especially these kind of calls, there is definitely an ending. And it's really cool because then they know I'm back to being theirs again. They can ask me their questions or whatever. So whether it's husband or kids, and it's just disciplining yourself, I jump out of my room and I go, okay, Neil, I've done this much in sales and booked this many parties, have this many recruit interviews. And you go, awesome, go get back to business. And I'd go back to my hour and come back and tell them again. But what's great is when you know you only have to do it once a week, and you're like, Tuesday's my night, make all my phone calls. I got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to either have, appointments or watch your favorite show or whatever. getting it slam dunked out of the way 2 hours once a week is awesome. Now, when you get to have more recruits and that, you may have to do it a little bit more, but it's way different to follow up on a recruit or to just follow up and say, I'm excited to see you on Tuesday, than it is cold calling and booking appointments or doing sales. Okay, so that's the 16 different reasons you should do our phone calling sessions. Okay, is everybody sold?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and Michelle, I know for you, where you work all day and then you teach classes, like you're going to have to be really deliberate to find that 2 hours in your week. For me, it's very hard to find 2 solid hours I got to run a kid someplace, or, there's always something going on with my little homeschooled kids. It's never ending, but it's all right. I chose this life. It's not a complaint. It's just very hard to do. So, but okay, so 2-hour phone calling session, that should be after next week anyway. It should be one of your items that you do once a week. It should be on your thing of 5 points. You give yourself 5 points for doing it. Okay. Hostess coaching, you don't exactly do hostess coaching, but your social media needs to start having consistency. Now, I don't care what the consistency is, but it needs to be so many times a week or so many times a day. There should be some sort of pattern with, you need to give lots and lots and lots of added value. And hey, this works for this, and I'm excited to know more about this. It's got to be add value. Every 10, it can be, oh, guess what? We have a special. But most of the time, it's about adding value and education. Okay. Things like making phone calls to prospective leads, or even going out and making friends at, Target or your local gym or Mop Screen. I'm trying to think of places that you would sell your products to. Okay. That you can start choosing to go to so many networking opportunities a week. There's all sorts of different things you can do. Okay. So start to think about what activities you need to do consistently, but that needs to match your goals. So let's head over to these other sheets. You need to decide, first of all, track your last 3 months, see if you can find your numbers. I have some people who tell me they really have a hard time finding their numbers, or they just know their numbers just weren't happening at all. And if that's the case, then that's fine. But see what you can do to figure out your numbers, because what's going to be exciting is 3 months from now, when you see the difference, you're going to go, wow, my sales tripled, my sales doubled, my whatever it is. Okay. My team's grown by this many. Okay. So see if you can do that. Okay, so total monthly sales. You've got month 1, 2, 3, and you're going to have a total on that. And then down at the bottom, oh, this is actually your history. I kind of have it in 2 places. The top is your history, and down at the bottom are your month 1 goals, the same category. And then at the end of the month, you'll put down what you actually accomplished. Had a tickle in my throat. Okay, so feel free to change these categories a little bit. Number of parties, number of attendees. I guess I should do 2 different forms, one for more multi-level marketing and one more for party plans. But figure out how many people you had to talk to get a sale. Okay, or how many contacts or new friends you made on Facebook, or there's other things that you can measure. And let me know if you want some help in brainstorming on that. Okay. So one of the things that the 2 of you need to be thinking about, instead of parties held, it needs to be one-on-ones. Okay. Number of one-on-ones. That's your main measurement, is number of one-on-ones and how many people it took you to get a sell. We should be able to get it down to 1 out of 5 to 1 out of 3. Some people say it's 1 out of 10, and I just would put a bullet in my head if that's how bad it really was. I can help you get it better than that. Okay? Especially with this phone script I'll teach you next week. All right. Okay. So set your long-term, your sales goal, and then break it down into how many appointments based on how much sales you need to have. And for you guys, I know it's broken down into sales, and it's broken down into how many recruits you have, how many people turn into people that are going to be business owners, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
kind of figure that out. And then email that to me. If you can do it before Christmas, that would be good. Then you can kind of relax and you can kind of mentally work on some of this stuff. But if you don't have time, then do what you can.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, one more thing. What time is it here? Let's see. Okay, we have one more thing to talk about. All right. So where'd it go? Okay, becoming business minded. One of the things, and you both have different challenges that you're facing with regards to this. One of the things I have found in this industry is that people, okay, if you, like Michelle, you know that if you don't show up to your regular daytime job, you'll get fired, right? I mean, it's just the way it is, okay? And so you keep showing up every day,
Yep.
right? Would you dare say that you work more consistently your daytime job than you do your business?
Yes.
Okay. And that kind of, I mean, it sort of sucks because you know that. And you're like, well, okay, clearly I can be consistent because you show up to work every day and you don't blow that off, right? And the thing is, it's not that you blow off your business. The fact of the matter is, it's just not as much of a habit. And the thing is, it does have the same consequences. You fire yourself versus someone else firing you, right? Okay. But what most people do not understand, because we talk so much about being our own boss and having flexibility and all this stuff, that somehow we think that that just means we can work when we want to and still make the same amount of money. And I'm like, sorry, but no, it doesn't work, okay? Like, I mean, I was here and I had different time with my kids, but now it's 9:00 at night and I'm on the phone and they're, you know, getting dinner and they're on their own, right? Okay. I still have to work at some point. Okay, I get to homeschool and I get to make sure I go to all my son's swim meets, but I'm going to miss one swim meet to go to Portland to do this live event, and the rest of them I'll be at. Okay, I get to make choices, but so many people don't actually choose to work their businesses and they wonder why they didn't make money. Does that make sense? Okay, so it's habits that have to be ingrained. Like Michelle, if you get as consistent about having appointments as you are consistent about teaching your classes and consistent about going to your day job, you got this made. Right. Okay? Because you have incredible, I mean, you will work hours around me, okay? So what you have to decide are things just like you would a job. Like, what am I going to wear? Am I going to put on a crock pot meal that day? Am I going to do more networking? How am I going to fit that in my life? Like, there's a whole list of things here, and you can decide some others that you need to think about. How do I still make sure I have time with those that I care about, whether it's friends or family or children or husband or whatever it is, okay? How do I
just cut them all out. I don't care.
Yeah. Out. Okay? So one of the things that's so important is that you think about the life habits you need to create in addition to the business habits. Okay, because whatever you do for breakfast or lunch with your daytime job, you just need to have the same kind of consistency so that you can work at night and have a few more business appointments. Okay? And that's all this comes down to. I feel so bad for people when they feel like they failed a business And all they did was fail making habits. Now, I can help people with a few more business skills, and you both are. I love to see the glow in your face and how much happier you are having good questions to ask and know that you made a better connection with the people that you were talking to this week. So that is awesome. But I don't care how much I teach you that. If you don't do it a couple times a week, my advice will not help you if you don't do it. Okay? You have to couple
Right.
wonderful information that I have with good habits. That's the only way it works. Okay? My advice is awesome. It is. I love it. I love to see how it changes how people sell. But I cannot put a gun to your head and make you do it 5, 10, 15 times a week. I just can't. That's up to you. But I can help you figure out how to stay motivated, how to keep those goals in front of your mind, set alarms, be deliberate about your choices. It's got to be, oh, tonight's my business night. So guess what? I'm going to put a crock pot meal in and I'm going to plan for that. You start changing your life habits to fit around your business, just like you would if you start a new job. Like, Danya, if you all of a sudden decided, you know what, I'm going to try to start working, I don't know, where's your favorite store? What's your favorite clothing store?
Lane Bryant.
Lane Bryant. Okay. So you said, I'm going to start working at Lane Bryant. And, they give you a job and you're working Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays from, 4 to 10 p.m. or something. Okay. You would take that seriously and you'd figure out how you're going to feed your kids and you'd figure out what you're going to wear and you would figure out the details to do it. That is not what happens with direct sales. Okay, so few people take the time to figure out the shift in their life, what they have to do to make it happen. Okay, so I want you to think about that, and those are things you can add to your tracker. Your tracker is about the habits you need to make your business successful, and maybe that habit means you deliberately have one-on-one time with your kids and a date with your husband, because that way they're happier and they're more supportive when you work your business. Maybe that's something that has to be in there. That's not talking to people and doing sales, but it's still a part of being successful. Maybe it means you talk to this many people on Facebook and you realize you close 3 out of 10 people you talk to on Facebook. And so that means maybe you go, well, that means I need to meet 30 new people a week on Facebook. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's all about the habits, but you don't have a boss that gives you a checkoff sheet. You go, yep, I did it. You have to make your own checkoff sheet. Okay? So you got like lots of thinking to do this week. Do it when you can. It's Christmas. I really hope you do it because you'll keep moving and you'll be really ready for January. If you don't do it this week in Christmas, if it's going to stress you out because there's a lot going on for Christmas, then do it after Christmas. Do it when you can. Okay? I don't want it to stress you out, but I want you to choose to be deliberate about it if you can fit it in. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay? All right. Any other questions? So you're a lot about the business goals you have, the activities it takes to create so much business, and the specific activities you want to have that will help your life work around your business, okay? All right, I know it's 10 o'clock at your guys' house. So if either of you know a place, Michelle, I don't know where you teach your Love and Logic classes, but if you know of a venue for me to come down and do this, it'd be awesome.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
okay.
Let me think of a couple places. I'll email you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And, when you have time and, whatever is fine. But I'm excited I can't wait to see my clients and give them hugs, okay? It's like, I can't really stand excited.
I'm way excited. That's so cool.
So I hope by then you have several team members and they can come join us.
Yeah.
It'd be lots of
fun.
Okay. Do you
All
guys
right.
have any questions?
Oh,
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Feeling
That,
pretty good about everything.
you what?
I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good.
I am so thrilled for both of you and how you're doing your questions. That is awesome. Well
Yeah.
done, ladies. Well done. Keep going with it, okay? It's a habit that has to be created. So
all right.
keep going, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Please have a very, very Merry Christmas.